When I barely started drawing, this is one of the spots where I would come to a lot because it was one of my favorites. It was just so beautiful. It grounds you. My name is Manuel López, and I'm a painter. Well, I was born in East LA. I grew up in Boyle Heights. I went to preschool in that building over there, next to that butterfly mural. And as a kid, I guess you always pass by like murals, and at least for me, because growing up in like East LA, Boyle Heights, there's a bunch of murals, and I would always just come to school and kind of take them for granted. And then one time the church resurrection, they had I think it's what is it, maybe Good Friday, they reenact the Passion of the Christ, and they did it from the church. They came through here, and there was a guy dressed as Jesus and like the Roman soldiers or the guards, and I don't know, as a kid it just kind of left an imprint, because you have the image of the Christ, and then you have somebody playing the Christ, and it looks surreal to me. Buenas tardes. So I started headquarters. Think about maybe 6 solid buildings, large buildings, and they all have like a mural. I think maybe like the one that has more resonance with people, it has a picture or depiction of Che Guevara pointing at the viewer and stating, "We are not a minority." You grew up in a country that doesn't reflect your culture, even though the majority of the people, or a large portion of the population, is Mexican American. And so once you have something on the wall, or something that it's reflecting your gaze at you, I think people notice. So I went to art school, and a couple months before graduation, everybody was like painting big, and everybody wants, since you're graduating, there's galleries coming in and looking at your work. So everybody is trying to work big and bright. Look at me, look at my paintings, and I think I was one of them as well. And when I came back to LA, I was over it. I'm like, this is not even me. I was just doing it because you want attention, obviously. I kind of fell out, right? Like I stopped painting. I wanted to go back into making artwork, but I didn't know which way to approach it. Like, do I go back as a painter? I kept overthinking it. Like, why did I end up in art school? Why did I graduate from this program? Why? And it was like, dude, what was that little kid that was drawing, and that was his interest. That was that little. I'm still like, that kid is still somewhere. Let me try to go back into where I'm at right now through what got me here in the first place, which was drawing. Let me try to capture something that's very difficult to capture. And I'm like, well, the neighborhoods. You go up to a viewpoint and you look out, and it's 10 miles that you could see, or 20 miles or whatever. So how do you wrangle that space into a night and a half. Simplify, take away, and then just arrive at some sort of essence of the landscape, you know? As a kid, I had asthma, and I would get like pretty heavy episodes, and my mom would take me to the hospital, like on the bus from East LA to Sunset. We would just take Chavez, and at the time, like as a kid, like, you know, you sit by, as a kid, you always want to sit by the window, and you see the city, literally like the city becomes this thing that it just moves as a strip, right? And then you look to the right, and you have the windows, right? And they're partitioned, you know. You see everything passing by, and I think as a kid, I kind of realized, like, when you were passing, like, oh, like you're East LA, and then you're Boyle Heights, and then you're Chinatown, and then Angelino Heights, Echo Park, and then Silver, and then Hollywood. And so it became like this sort of like weird thing where it became almost like, again, stages of the cross.